Hello there. I hope you're having a fantastic week and all set for a wonderful weekend. Hope life has been good for you, wherever you are. It is a typically beautiful Friday morning here. Sun is shining. Everything is green. We've had an early rainy season this year. It's been raining now for the last couple of weeks. It usually rains starting around the 5th or the 7th of May, something like that. And we're now getting rain every day, lots of it. It's great. I mean, we have hundreds of fruit trees, and the fruit trees are very happy with the rain. Our gardens in general, in fact, are all very happy. So a little bit less chance to get sun. It starts to get cloudy around midday, early afternoon. I usually have free time in the afternoons. My mornings are pretty much jam-packed, so not getting quite as much sun as I'd like to these days, many days. All right, so hello, welcome everyone. Welcome you guys here with me on Instagram. I'm glad to see you. Welcome here on YouTube. It's good to be with you. Shalom Aleichem says, is there a difference in the quality of watermelon when the seeds are white instead of brown? White seeds are immature seeds. So if all the seeds are immature, I mean, it's typical to have some immature seeds. Now, if you're looking at a seedless watermelon, what happens in a seedless watermelon is the seeds don't mature. So you will get lots more of these white immature seeds and very few, if any, of the mature brown seeds. I personally prefer seeded watermelons, but I have no problem eating hybrid foods. Most everything we eat is hybrids these days, and that's fine. I've talked about this extensively before. This is widely misunderstood. Hybrids are things that could occur in nature, and I don't really have a problem with that. But no, there's not necessarily an issue. All right, Mindagos asks, that is, hello there. Good to see you. Dalen says, hey, recently found your channel, super interested in the work you do. Thank you for sharing so much knowledge. You are very, very welcome. I'm so happy to be able to be here. I consider it a privilege to be able to share this information, and I do my best to be respectful, to share useful information for free to as many people as possible. And I've been here every week. I've missed a few weeks when I'm traveling sometimes, or sometimes there's an issue. I can't get online for some reason, but generally speaking, I've been here pretty much every week now for 5 or 6 years, I think, broadcasting live, and very happy to share. So thanks so much for your kind comments. Todd Volpe, thank you so much, Todd. I appreciate that. We have our first super chat today. Ian is here and has made a £5 contribution and says, in areas where I cannot take glass bottles for drinking water, poolside, sports centers, etc., are plastic bottles free of BPA a fair compromise? Yeah, there are some bottles that are better than others. I would, if possible, better than plastic bottles, BPA-free bottles, would be stainless steel, for instance. You can find many stainless steel flasks. I think I have one. Yeah, you can see there, that white container is a stainless steel stainless steel container. That would probably be a better option than plastic. All plastics break down with time. That breakdown is accelerated in the presence of heat and or direct sunlight. And so if you are using plastic bottles, and I mean, there are times I frankly don't carry a bottle most of the time. Some of you know this, but once you get your body clean and are eating and hydrated by eating optimally, you don't really need to drink very much water. So, I mean, I've been working now for 4 hours, talking pretty much nonstop. That means, I wind up needing to wet my whistle a little bit. So I've had, a third of a glass of water. But I may not drink any water after this. Once I'm done with my calls for the day, I don't really need to drink much more. And so that I may drink 2 liters a week. I mean, it varies, but something like that. Or most people are needing 4 liters a day. Obviously, the less you drink, the less of an issue this is. But I do wind up sometimes needing to use plastic bottles. In that situation, you want to keep them out of direct sunlight. keep them away from heat sources. You wouldn't want to leave a plastic bottle in a car. I mean, it happens all the time. I bought a bottle, when was it? Several days ago. I had a long drive to make. It was a very hot day. I was running errands in a very hot city, an hour and a half from here. Some things we needed to handle, and I wound up buying a bottle of water, cold water. I drank a tiny bit of it and left the bottle in the car. I won't drink any more of that. I mean, it's sitting in a hot car means the plastic is breaking down, and it would be better to avoid that because you are going to consume plastic under those circumstances. Okay? But yes, and there are situations where a plastic might be okay, and you do what you need to do. If all you have is plastic as an option, obviously BPA free would be a good choice. You want to avoid BPA because this is a very toxic chemical. All right. Let me see here. Where were we? Okay. Dalen is asking, is fasting with severe menstrual issues different? I'd hoped periods. Oh, I'm afraid I just lost it because someone else joined in here. There we go. I'd hoped periods might temporarily stop, but saw one testimonial with you where she bled the entire time. Made sense, but I'd like to understand more. Also linked to that, I cry a lot when I'm present with my emotions. Does that just mean needing to drink more during a fast? Okay, so let's see. First of all, you won't necessarily stop menstruating. In fact, it's useful to understand that the bleeding that occurs with a monthly menstrual cycle and all of the other symptoms, which for many women include bloating and cramping and emotional issues, all of these symptoms are occurring because the body is detoxifying. And it's detoxifying for the simple reason that the period is the start of the next opportunity to create a healthy baby. So the woman's body sheds the lining of the uterus, drops a fresh egg into place, hoping that, or in the case that healthy sperm comes along and fertilizes the egg. And so the idea is if that's going to happen, the body wants to ensure that it happens in the healthiest way possible, that baby is as healthy as can be. And so there's some detoxification that occurs because of the cycle. Well, when we get out of the body's way and give it this opportunity to detoxify by fasting, what we expect to happen is that the period definitely won't stop. It will often be heavier or longer duration. And how that shows up, it varies from woman to woman, and it depends on at what stage of the process she is when her period happens. So for instance, in the first week of a fast, the period will usually be more or less typical. In the second week, it'll usually be heavier or longer duration. And if it happens in the third week of a fast or fourth week, it will usually be a little lighter than usual because the body's already done so much of the cleansing. Assuming, of course, that this is done properly. People think fasting is fasting. All you have to do is stop eating and you're fasting. Well, that's true, but what happens if you stay active and aren't getting enough water is a shadow of what occurs when you actually do this properly. And, you can believe whatever you like. People tell me this, it's self-serving. I'm just promoting my business. This is essentially a not-for-profit business. I don't take a salary. Everything we earn is reinvested and currently is being reinvested in a nonprofit nature preserve. This was never about my own wealth. This is just not what I'm focused on. I live very simply. You can see this is my apartment. That's my bedroom. Bathroom is here. I've got a little patio on each side here with a tiny little kitchen outside. It's very simple. I don't need much. I drive a 29-year-old car that I hope to change soon. But the point is that I do what I do because it's so important. But you need to fast with experienced guidance to actually know what you're doing and get the benefits. Fasting that way, you will probably bleed while you're fasting, and how long and for how much depends. Yes, obviously, if you're losing blood you will need to increase your water intake a little bit. I mean, you're going to need a little bit more. If you're crying while fasting, you won't necessarily. I mean, I seriously, I don't know the quantity. I actually looked this up once, but I don't recall now the quantity, the volume of water lost by crying, by tears. But it's pretty small. So it's not something most people would have to worry about. It is one more way the body is using water, but it's a relatively small amount. So not something you really need to think too much about. Jan Turgeon says, has first of all made a $5 Canadian contribution. Thank you so much, Jan. And says, about the healing of the body during water fasting, are you saying the body energy that would normally be used for digestion is rerouted for healing? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And it's hopefully, if it's done correctly, Jan, it's not just the energy that would have been used for digestion. The point of fasting is to rest as completely as possible. So if on a normal day I get up and do a set of push-ups and make a call and then do some more exercise and then eventually have something to eat and do some more exercise and give a lecture and talk to my clients and all the work I'm doing, if I can stop doing all of that, I'm liberating a lot more energy. Now, the most energy is liberated by not processing food because that can take up to half the body's energy every day. But if we're not doing anything we don't need to do, then we're going to be liberating a lot more energy. And if we look at nature, what we see is that every species on the planet fasts when it's sick enough or badly enough injured. This is nature's way of allowing the organism the opportunity to cleanse and heal as efficiently and as effectively as possible. And what those species do is nothing. They will lay down and stop moving. This is the way that we maximize our benefit. Okay, and so I mean, there are people that say, "Oh, you should be exercising while fasting." Okay, you do whatever you want, but keep in mind, 25 million species all stop doing anything that they don't need to do if they're fasting to cleanse or heal the body. Here, where we've been doing this now for over 24 years, we celebrated our 24th anniversary last month in March. Thousands of people. The goal is to encourage people to rest as completely as possible, and those people who do rest invariably get far more benefit than people who don't. That's just what happens over and over again. Okay, Yari is here. Has made a €5 contribution. Says, "Namaste. Have you seen mail on repayment yet? When do people?" Yes. When do people, I'm super busy and behind schedule. When do people feel energetic while fasting? Why are there not yet champion athletes who fasted? So there may well be champion athletes who fasted. It may well be that they don't want to tell their competition what they've done to achieve, to reach their goals. One of my plans, as I think you may be aware, Yari, is to create an Olympic training center as part of our project and have Costa Rican athletes come here to train. And this is going to be difficult, although easier in a tiny country where everyone knows everybody. If we can show what happens with a few people. I have a man fasting with me now who holds or held, I'm not sure if he still holds it or not, but he held one or more records, personal records as a swimmer when he was 20 years old for Costa Rica. He's now 61 years old. It's been a long time. He's already down 35 kilos from when I first met him. He's fasted with me twice before, is now halfway through. This is day 21 of his 42-day fast. This is his third fast with me. His goal is to get back into competitive swimming. Obviously not competing with 20-year-olds, but there is, I forget what they call it. There's a league for elder, a senior league. And his goal is to go back out there and show people what can be done. If we can show the swimming coaches what's possible at his age, maybe we can start getting some people in. If we can start to see results, there's no question that getting the body clean makes the body much more efficient. There's no question that we can take people to a much higher level of performance. And we've seen this with all kinds of athletes. I have a client who is a professional triathlete. She doesn't work. She runs triathlons, and gets sponsored, gets paid to do it. And she has fasted and dramatically improved her performance as a result. She may not want to talk about that because she probably doesn't want to tip off her competition. We've had a couple of professional football players, soccer players, from Europe, fast. We've seen amazing things with these people. Again, are they out there talking about it? Maybe not, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Why do people feel energetic while fasting? Well, there are many reasons. If they're not resting, they're going to feel energetic because their body is not really deep into the process. If they have lots of reserves, they're going to feel more energetic than if they're lean. People who are very lean, either low body fat and or low muscle mass, are likely to feel much more weak and tired while fasting. People who have lots of reserves tend to go through the process. I mean, the guy I'm talking about, the Costa Rican swimmer who is 61, I believe, who came in overweight, is now much closer to his optimal weight. I think yesterday he was just over 85 kilos, probably should be 70 or 75 kilos. He's got much bigger bones than me, so he's always going to carry much more weight than me. But he's got tons of energy, and that's what happens when people have lots of reserves. People also have energy because they're dumping stimulants. Okay, we have people come in here that have been using caffeine, nicotine, cocaine, speed, or any other. Excess proteins and is a stimulant, and so sometimes, as the body is detoxing, it's dumping substances into the bloodstream, which make one feel energized, and it looks like they've got lots of energy. That's actually false energy. They feel energized, but because of stimulant, that leaves them more depleted. But that's another reason that people can appear, seem to be energetic while fasting. All right. I see many people here that I may or may not get a chance to greet. I'm going to stick right now for the time being with the super chats, because that's the way we roll here. If people are making a contribution, they do get attention. Alexis De Pronto is in the house and has made a €21.99 contribution. Thank you so much for your kind contribution. I appreciate that. Alexis says, hello, Loren. I'm trying to eat only fruits and salad for years, but I failed, sometimes for crap, burgers, chocolate, and felt sick after. After seeing your video, take responsibility. I know what to do now by being aware. That's fantastic. This can be a challenging thing for many people. Many people, you're not alone. Many people have failed to maintain an optimal diet. And the reasons why are many. First of all, for many people, the emotional addictions are so strong. There's this ongoing subconscious desire to suppress emotions. Most of us have been raised, taught that we should not feel certain emotions. And so when these emotions arise, there's this subconscious desire to suppress them. And one of the most effective ways to do that is to eat heavy foods. Heavy, that doesn't mean apples and oranges. It doesn't mean watermelons, they're heavy, but that doesn't do it. You need something that's going to, make you really feel nothing. And that's what happens when people eat bread and cheese and meat, etc. They stop feeling their emotions. And so this is one piece. Many people, that was the emotional addiction. Then people have physical addictions, right? As your body is detoxifying and this stuff is back in your bloodstream, we see people constantly thinking about food. We see, and this is even people sometimes who have been eating optimally already for quite a long time. Then they fast and they have these repetitive thoughts about food. They wind up having dreams, and it's common. You wake up while fasting. You wake up, you're in that half-awake state, and you're thinking, what did I do? I broke my fast, and I was eating something I don't eat anymore. Eating animal products or eating crap, whatever it is, depending on who the person is. It's often things that people no longer consume. This is what happens. It's a common thing. This happens, I believe, because that substance is in your consciousness because it's actually in your bloodstream. Okay, we know people are eliminating stuff that's been in there for decades in some cases. And I believe as the body is rehydrating that old stuff, we begin reabsorbing from that stuff sitting in the intestines. this stuff is back in our consciousness. Okay, it's very real. It has a huge impact. Anyone who denies this is out of touch with reality. I mean, we know, if you want to make a child have nightmares, give them a bunch of sugar before they go to sleep. You want to make someone aggressive, give them meat. Okay, this makes people aggressive. This is known. What is in your bloodstream is affecting your consciousness, and therefore creating these repetitive thoughts. And so it can be difficult, right? And so the key for people, if you're struggling to eat optimally, one of the best things you could do would be to fast long enough and properly to remove all that old garbage from your body. Okay, you got to do this with guidance, so you do it properly and you get all that stuff out of your system. Okay, at the same time, and starting now and continuing through for the rest of your life, you do the emotional work so that you free yourself of the subconscious desire to suppress your emotions. Most people aren't saying, oh, I've got some sadness coming up. I think I'll eat, 5 pounds of donuts or, a gallon of ice cream so I don't have to feel that anymore. It's a subconscious thing. The problem is that until we make it conscious, it's going to keep happening. And so what we need to do is find a way to be okay with our emotions so that we can feel them as they arise. And once we can do that, there's no more subconscious need or desire to suppress them. We stop doing that. Now we're free. We're liberated only when we do that. People talk about being free. I mean, there are people in prison. Mandela, when he was released after decades, 27 years, I think, in prison, said, they can imprison my body, but they could never imprison my soul. On the other side, there are people walking around right now who look like they're free, but they're not, because they don't get to choose what to think. They don't get to choose how they interact with life. Okay, they're reacting to everything because they're programmed, because they're addicted, because they're toxic, and because they're dehydrated. Okay, we can change these things. We can detoxify the body, which it doesn't happen by drinking juices or eating superfoods or herbs or anything like that. It happens when we get out of our amazing body's way and allow it the opportunity to cleanse and heal. So as you can imagine, fasting 26 days, which is our average fast here, that's considered radical by most people. The people we see here are often coming here as a last resort. They've tried everything else and nothing else has worked. They've done all the herbal cleanses and all the juice feasting and all the other crap you can think of. And what happens? They wind up not really getting the results they want. Then they come here, and what happens is amazing. It's life-changing over and over again. And that's why people come back over and over again. Okay, I have 2 people here right now that are here for the 3rd time. I have one person here for the 2nd time. I have someone else coming who's already fasted with me, twice plus 1 aborted attempt because there's something came up that she needed to handle. But it'll be her 3rd fast. And others I'm forgetting about. I mean, this happens all the time. We have people that are here that are referring other people all the time. Okay, this happens because it works. Okay, remember, I mean, we've stayed really busy, have grown from 5 beds when I moved here 8 years ago to 32 for fasting without ever advertising. Okay, we've never run a paid ad. This happens because people are referring people and they're coming back and they're telling their families. And I've got people who are going, I've got a club that I want to bring everyone down here. Okay, someone else wrote to me today, a client here, and said, I want to start promoting this. This is amazing what's happening for me. I want to get more people here. That's what happens. I mean, honestly, we don't usually have space for more people, but we are hopefully moving to a model in the next couple of years where we'll be able to go back to being open all the time. We're currently open 10 weeks and then close 5. And we do that because when we're open, I work incredibly long hours. And I'm just not willing to do that anymore. I mean, I can't do that all the time. So I do that, and then I take a 5-week break, and then we open again, and I take a 5-week break, and it's still been pretty intense. And again, I mean, I don't take a salary from this. It's not because I'm getting rich doing this. It's because I'm helping as many people as I can this way. But what we're looking to do when we're able to, it's been a tough year with the borders closed for 6 months last year. We're still recovering from that, especially with the big project Las Cascadas. Everything's gone into that, and so things have been a little bit challenging. But the goal is to bring on an MD and eventually more than one, and have them learn to supervise fast, because it's going to make more people feel confident, comfortable. I mean, there are people that won't come here now because I'm not an MD. So we're going to have an MD that's trained, already I've been training for the last few weeks. We'll get him professionally trained as well, and then we'll teach him how what we do is much better and show him why that is. Eventually, we'll have a manager of the center, and that means I'll be able to work far fewer hours, and then we can stay open all the time. And when that happens, or if not, maybe not 52 weeks a year, but maybe 48 weeks a year, or something like that. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. You didn't ask a question, you made a statement. Anyway, I'm glad you're doing well. There's no question you can create anything you choose to, Alexis. Everybody can. The question is, how committed are you? Right? If you're ready to go out there, there's nothing that can stop you if you're willing to go out there and do what you need to do. We may have to learn, we may have to grow. That's what it's all about. But there's nothing to stop us from creating amazing results, right? I mean, again, folks, I am healthier and more fit today at 6. Well, I've got a week to go. On Sunday a week, I'll turn 60, right? And I feel better today than I felt at 18. Okay, anyone can accomplish that. Anyone can feel amazing. Okay, that's what's possible. All right. Michael is here from Australia, has made a 963. I love that number, 963 contribution. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate that very, very much. All right. Let's see. Jan is back. Jan Turgeon has made a Canadian $5 contribution again. Thank you. And says, during water fasting, would resistance training reduce muscle loss? Also, is water fasting longer than 40 days dangerous, even under experienced guidance? No. First of all, resistance training while fasting would not reduce muscle loss. It would increase muscle loss. And that's because you would be increasing your caloric demands, your caloric needs. So again, Jan, I can only share with you. I mean, how you interact with this is up to you. What you think about it's up to you. But I'm really clear. I like to think I'm pretty smart, but I don't think I'm nearly as smart as nature. In nature, 25 million species lay down and stop moving when they need to cleanse and heal. Obviously, if it was better for them in some way to stay active, that's what they would do. But that's not what they do. They lay down and stop moving. Your cat or dog, if it gets sick enough, will lay down and stop moving. Refuse to eat. But it doesn't try to be as active as it can be. It doesn't do anything. That's what happens in nature. We're never going to improve on that. Okay? We're never, ever going to improve on that. You want to be really clear about that. Water fasting longer than 40 days can be dangerous depending on the situation. Each case is different. I have taken nearly 700 people 6 weeks, 42 days or longer. I mean, thousands of fasts, but almost 700 people have gone 42 days or longer. I have another one doing it now. We had 3 or 4 people here last session fast that long. You have to know what you're doing. Okay, it's not something anyone should be doing alone. With experienced guidance, it would depend on the situation. Obviously, it's a lot harder for someone who's already very lean. We have taken many people very lean through fasts of that length, but it's not always recommended. Each case is different. If you're interested in taking your health and vitality to the highest level possible, guaranteed, if you're coachable and open, I'll guarantee you an amazing result if you're willing to do what you need to do. But the starting place would be to go to tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com, complete a registration form, and then I can tell you what I'd recommend that you do given your situation, because it's not going to be in everyone's best interest to fast for that long. Okay? All right, I've got a comment here on Instagram. I don't think I exercise much at age 18, and I ate dairy and meat. Okay, so I'm actually missing something. I didn't see the top of this conversation. I can't really comment on that. But yeah, I mean, most people, when we're young people, we don't really need to exercise as long as we stay active. Okay, what happens is, and happens more and more now, unfortunately, is more kids now spend most of their time. I was going to grab my phone, but it's up here recording Instagram. Most kids are sitting in front of screens all day long. They're not physically active. When I was a kid, we didn't have smartphones, obviously. television was invented, television became really available as when I was a child. And we had television, but we weren't allowed to watch it more than like an hour or so per night as a family. And that meant after school, I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a television I could use. I didn't have a smartphone. What did I do? I had balls, right, and bats. I mean, we were bicycles. We were out playing. We were riding our bikes. We were playing sports. We were being physically active. If it was raining or, it was super hot and too hot to be outside, okay, maybe we were coloring or drawing or making something, but we were active most of the time. Okay, what happens today is fewer people are active, and as we get older, even less likely to be active. What I found is that most people do need to build muscle, and then they can stay active. Okay, you don't necessarily have to work out a lot if you already have a physique that works, but if you don't, then you're going to have to build muscle to develop a body that actually functions properly. Once you've done that, it's not so hard to maintain it. I mean, I find even at my age, it's been relatively easy. Many of you here are younger than I am and should have no trouble maintaining muscle mass by doing a reasonable amount of activity that you enjoy doing. You don't have to, go spend an hour a day working out, doing something you hate doing at the gym. All right, we've got some more super chats, so I'm going to scroll on down. Harry Lee is here and has made a £9.99 contribution. Thank you so much, Harry. Harry says, hey, Loren, how does one know at what point all the mucoid plaque has been hydrated and moved through the body, i.e. when does one know when they fasted long enough to get rid of it all? Unfortunately, Harry, one cannot know that. There is no way to know. We don't, unfortunately, I mean, I've been looking, but there is no little sensor that says stuff's all hydrated. You don't eliminate it all while you're fasting. Okay, most people don't eliminate any of the mucoid plaque. First of all, one has to typically fast 21 days or longer and properly. Okay, again, go to True North and you'll see the average fast is 10 or 11 days. The average person stays active. They've got classes and activities and stairs, guest room, second floor, activities, first floor, people going up and down. They've got TVs in every room, flat screens on the wall. There's Wi-Fi. People are not resting the way that people should be resting. They're only fasting 10 or 11 days on average. If you saw the Netflix program, you saw people fasting for 30, 40 days, but these were people who are 350 pounds. Here we've got people fasting for 40 days who are 150 pounds or even less sometimes. They would never do that there. I mean, literally would never. And they also tell people not to drink more than 2 liters of water per day, which means no one there ever eliminates any old hard material. And when I say that, I mean, just a couple months ago, I was in the home of a friend, a man I've known for 30 plus years, who worked at True North for 9 years as an MD, Dr. Michael Clapper. And Michael said he still doesn't believe that mucoid plaque exists. After 9 years of supervising fast, he's never seen it. That's because their protocol doesn't work. Okay, it's just they're not fasting long enough, they're not getting enough water, and they're not resting enough. Now, doing the way that we do it here is much more difficult. It's hard to get the water in. You stand the chance, there is the possibility of creating an electrolyte issue, and so we have to be very careful about that. But if we don't get this water in, we don't move this old stuff out. And if we don't move the old stuff out, we never come close to achieving the superhumanness that we're capable of achieving. We never get close to the point of feeling and functioning so incredibly well. We have someone here. Amanda says, I know someone who worked at True North. Yeah, me too. We have that in common, Amanda. What did you hear from the people that you know? We have somebody else. Let's see. Jure says, hi, Loren. Happy to see you today. Can I have your opinion on iridology? Yeah, sure. Iridology, for anyone who's not familiar with it, is the science or art, perhaps, of reading the iris. The iris is the colored part of the eye. You probably can't, there's not enough light here to see mine. Mine are green. Yes, green eyes do it. It's not going to help much, is it? You can probably see they're pretty green and pretty light. They're clear. They don't have black spots. They don't have depressions and raised places. Those things are showing that there are challenges in the body. And iridology, I mean, there's a map of the body on the hand, on the earlobe, on the bottom of the foot, on many places. Why not the eye, right? I've worked with people who can read the iris. In fact, the MD I've been working with knows quite a bit about iridology. He's quite interesting. He's a young guy, and he's a classically trained medical doctor, but he also embraces alternatives and actually doesn't really believe in medicine, as it's practiced. If he did, we'd have a hard time keeping him here, having him here with us. So yes, there's no question that there's a map of the eye. You can actually, if you know how to read it, you can understand what's happening in the body. All right. I'm going to take one more here. I think it's Amanda again on Instagram, then I'll come back to the super chats here. Amanda says she, who worked at True North, doesn't seem to know about being fruitarian. No, of course not. Of course not, because Alan Goldhammer, the owner and founder of True North, believes that everyone must eat cooked food, that it's impossible to live on a raw vegan diet, which of course is absurd nonsense. The idea that one must have cooked food makes absolutely no sense. First of all, there's 25 million species on the planet that eat no cooked food, only the ones we give it to. The ones we give it to, the only ones that wind up with cancer, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, etc. The same diseases that we cause by eating what we eat, we cause for other species by giving it to them. Clearly, we know that cooking food destroys nutrients and creates toxic compounds. There is no possible way that we would need to eat cooked food to be alive. The truth is that Goldhammer's wife, many years ago, I was having lunch with her at a conference. We used to go to the same conferences every year. And she's told me almost 30 years ago that Goldhammer tried to go raw a couple times, but failed to do it. Height of Arrogance says, if I can't do something, right, it's impossible to dunk a basketball. Yeah, I know you've seen people do it, but they're cheating. They've got special shoes. It's impossible for a human being to dunk a basketball. How do I know that? Because I can't do it. Here's a guy says, it's impossible to live. He literally has said, and over again in writing, it's impossible to live on a raw vegan diet. What complete idiocy this is. It's complete arrogance. Of course it's possible. Actually, it was interesting. I saw, I was in Michael Clapper's house back in December. A year earlier than that, in late November, maybe early December, a year before, we were co-keynote speakers at a big vegan event in Tel Aviv, Israel, and spent the better part of a week together in our free time. We were both at this event. They were shuttling us back and forth. We had some free days. On one free day, we drove down deep into the desert a couple hours to visit the Black African Israelite community there. They are vegan, some raw. We went there together. I took him to a friend's house, and we went up to visit Caesarea, this Roman town, ruins in Israel. We spent the afternoon on a catamaran together. We spent quite a bit of time together. Again, I've known this man for a long time. He's an amazing person, by the way. I wouldn't say anything negative about Dr. Clapper, simply that he doesn't have the experience, because he's been following the protocol formulated by Alan Goldhammer of True North and maybe the hygienists before, and who it's limited in terms of what they're capable of creating, the benefits that they're going to get. But after spending all this time together, it was interesting. We had lots of conversations. Our very last night together in Tel Aviv, I believe that Michael and his wife left the next day. I stayed on to do some additional events after that event ended. But our last night, there was a dinner at the home. The event was put on by a nonprofit organization to promote veganism. And they brought us both in and flew us there, and put us up, etc. And this was an opportunity for people to come together to ask us questions in a personal setting, in a living room with 65 or 70 people. They were asking us questions, and they would ask a question, we would both answer it. At the end of the evening, as we left together in the same vehicle back to our hotel, because they'd put us in the same hotel, he said to me, "You are walking evidence of why we should all be eating more raw food." He didn't say an all raw diet. He's not ready to go there, right? He's a cooked vegan for 40 years, but he said why we should all eat more raw food. But yeah, I mean, at True North, no, they're trying to push people into eating cooked food while refeeding, almost instantly undoing some of the benefits they got. I know raw vegans who've been raw for a while in Canada, no less. Yeah, well, I mean, no surprise here. I literally have clients in virtually every country of the world. I mean, people have come here in person from more than 100 and like 136 and 137 countries now, out of the 186 officially recognized countries. There's only 50, where people, and those are mostly poor countries in Africa and some of the countries in Asia. We've had people from virtually every country in Europe. We've had people from virtually every country in South and Central America. So we have people all over the world. We've got people inside the Arctic Circle, in Sweden, Finland, and Norway. We have clients living inside the Arctic Circle, right, where there's no sunlight for 6 months of the year, living on a raw vegan diet. Not the easiest place to do it, not what I'd recommend doing. We have clients living in Scotland, and I've got actually just got this. Hello, Megan, if you're there. This was a postcard. I wonder when this was sent. I didn't even look at that. I think it's been a while. December 18th. This arrived yesterday in April. This is why I don't use the mail system here. I use a private company to move things down if we want to get something sent here. But ex-girlfriend who lived with me in Panama 16 years ago for a year, went back to the Yukon, northern Canada, where she ate a raw vegan diet for a while. She's not all raw anymore. You can do this anywhere in the world. It's a lot easier in the tropics, where I can walk outside and pick fresh fruit off of a whole variety of different types of plants every single day of the year. That's how we should be living. We need fresh food. We need sunlight. We need fresh air. I'll never live anywhere but the tropics. But yes, this can be done absolutely anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. Okay, I've got to move on because we've got lots of. So let me come back to Harry's question. We can't know, Harry, when we've eliminated all the mucoid plaque. Now, what you can do is you can consult with someone who has a lot of experience over 24 years guiding people through this, where everyone eliminates mucoid plaque. We can't guarantee it's all going to come out, but we can guarantee that you're going to eliminate the greatest amount of it possible. And that happens when you complete a registration form. And I'll say to you, okay, Harry, based on your situation, this is how long you should fast. And then you're going to want to follow directions. Okay, when people aren't willing to follow directions, they don't get the results. Okay, but if you're willing to take the coaching, you will eliminate pounds and pounds of old hard material. You may need to fast more than once. Okay, you're not likely to clean it all out with one fast unless you're 12 and grew up eating really, really well. If you are 40, 50, 60, maybe even in your 20s or 30s, there's going to be a lot of stuff in there. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And again, thank you so much for your kind contribution. I'm going to scroll on down because we have some others here. Tessa Simpkins is here with a 10 Australian dollar contribution. Says, hey there, appreciate your work. Is it normal to not have done a number 2 in 18 days of my 40-day water fast? Yes, it is. While fasting, most people will not eliminate most of the time. I have people that will go, the first 2 or 3 days they're eliminating. Hopefully, after that, there may be no elimination. Now, honestly, Tessa, I would never encourage anyone to be fasting even more than 7 days without having experienced guidance. I'll guarantee you your results will be much better. You'll be much safer with experienced guidance. But that's up to you. But yes, it is common for people to not be eliminating most of the time while fasting. Of course, if you're not getting enough water, you reduce the likelihood of being able to eliminate, because the stuff that's stuck in there is hard and dry and needs to be hydrated. Okay, but it's true, most people do not eliminate. Some people do. We have people who eliminate every single day. Okay, every day. I don't have anyone right now who's eliminating every day, but I have a guy who is on day 16 or 17, and so far he has eliminated every day but 5 of his fast. Interesting, this is a guy who's fasted with me twice before and has been eating a close to perfect diet already for quite, for several years. It's not always the way people think it's going to be. But yes, it's not unusual. Okay, Jan is back. Jan, is back again with another $5 contribution. Thank you. Jan says, I only have about 30 minutes a day to exercise. Should this time be devoted to resistance training or cardio? And how many times a week should I do it? Okay, well, here's what I would say. Personally, I have trouble, imagining wanting to spend time, days not exercising. So I like to move my body every day. And if it were me, what I would do, I mean, honestly, I would focus very little on cardio. You can do some cardio. Cardio is especially useful if you want to lose weight, need to lose weight, because it will raise your metabolism and keep it up for a while. And the way you do that is you do the cardio at the end of your resistance training. So for me, I don't have a lot of free time. What I do is I will jump down between calls if I have 2 minutes, and I'll do a set of push-ups. I'll knock off 20 or 30 push-ups in a couple minutes, and then when I have my next break, I'll do it again. And so over the course of a typical day, I might do 100 push-ups. I'll go into the kitchen next door through this door over there, right behind me, and we have a big L-shaped countertop. I'll do full body weight dips. And again, I might only do 10 to 20 at a time, but I'll do multiple sets over the course of the day. So that's the way I do it. I don't usually have 30-minute chunk of time. I'll break it up into 5-minute sections, but I'll do this almost every day. You don't have to. If you're willing to do 3 days a week, 30 minutes is more than enough time. I mean, it's amazing how much you can benefit. But I would work on body weight exercises and isometrics. Okay, isometrics is pushing one against the other, pulling one against the other like that. These are working the muscles, and as you get stronger, you can push harder. You never outgrow it. If you buy dumbbells, you get to the point where you can't do it anymore. But if I sit here and I put my hands under my desk and I push up like I'm pushing this way, like I'm trying to curl, but I can't move because the desk weighs more. It's got a whole bunch of stuff on it, and in it, I'm not lifting the desk this way. Or if it's too much, if I can lift it, then I can go to one hand at a time. Right now, I've only got one arm there, and you can see the muscles in my arm. I'll turn this way, are engaging, even though there's no movement. Now, I like exercises that involve movement, but you can get a lot from isometrics as well. Okay, Coca Berry, hello there, says, what are your thoughts on COVID in India? The surge is out of control. Honestly, I apologize. I know you are in India, and I don't really know much about what's going on there. But I can tell you that what we know is that vitamin D deficiency is a huge issue. People that are low in vitamin D are much more likely to catch this flu, which is what it is. People who are obese are much more likely to catch this flu. Those are, and people who have comorbidities, have our other issues already, are much more likely. So if India has a high population of older people, then they're much more likely, because this is usually, it's not really a problem for most people unless they're in their 70s. Most of the rest of us don't have anything to worry about whatsoever, especially if we're not sick. If your vitamin D status is good, there's almost no chance of getting sick with this. And while it's a hot, sunny country, dark-skinned people need much more direct sunlight than people who are lighter skinned. It may well be that people are walking around deficient there in vitamin D as well as other things. Also, if they are getting medicated, guess what? They're much more likely to get sick. So there's various reasons that could be happening. Okay, Jan, I hope that helps you. Again, if it were me, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can build a strong heart by doing weight training, weight bearing exercises. For me, it's squats and push-ups and dips and isometrics, wall chairs, calf raises, things like this. For me, it keeps me fit and strong. I don't really do much cardio because I don't have time. Now, when I get a chance, I go to the beach between sessions. We'll do a staff trip. This last trip, we went to an amazing waterfall. There was, unfortunately, they didn't allow you to actually go right under the waterfall because of all the rocks there and because of stuff falling, I suppose. But there was a little bit of swimming. It wasn't tremendous. When we go to the beach and there's big waves, I might spend hours in the ocean body surfing and get plenty of cardio that way. But really, the most important thing is keeping muscles strong, not excessive, mass, but keeping strong musculature by working properly. Looking to see where we are. I've got a call in 8 minutes, so I'm going to wrap up with the super chats that we have here now, and then I'll go back and answer other questions. All right, so Alina Morales is here and has made a $300 Mexican peso contribution. Thank you so much, Alina. I truly appreciate your generosity. Alina says, my son is fasting because he might have an ulcer and he has pain in the stomach and apparently in the kidney too. He was smoking tobacco and weed on a daily basis for years, so he's having a bad time. For how long would you recommend him to fast? He threw up brown stuff and he thinks it's blood. He thinks he needs a medical checkup. He's worried. Okay, well, as you've probably heard me say before, Alina, because I know you've been here before and you've contributed before. I appreciate that very much. You've probably heard me say this in just the last few minutes. I don't recommend anyone fast more than 5 to 7 days without experienced guidance. Your son needs to know what's happening. And so I don't know if you're aware of this, but I do guide people remotely, right? My next call is with a group of people. These people I think are all in North America. My last call was all people in Europe. And it's not, we don't divide them. It's just that the early call is too early for people in North America. The earlier calls. This is the call where some people on the West Coast, or even now with the 10 o'clock call, it's a little early for them while they're fasting because they need to wake up and do a protocol to get all their measurements, et cetera, before we speak. And so they really need to have been awake, for at least an hour. And some people don't want to wake up earlier than 9 o'clock, but they would need to. So I would recommend that your son not be fasting without having experienced guidance. That we do offer a payment plan. It's not cheap, but what's more important in your health? It's hard to say. I mean, the brown stuff could indeed be old blood. Obviously, new blood is red. Older blood will look brown. That's entirely possible. It's entirely possible he's throwing up some mucus. Where there's been smoking, there can be dark mucus. There could be bile, which is greenish yellow, but mixed with other things. It's hard to say without knowing more. But fasting more than 5 to 7 days without having experienced guidance is far less likely to be as successful or safe, and he can't relax. I mean, he's worried, right? He wants to be able to relax completely. My recommendation would be to have him write to us. We do have a payment plan. It's not so terribly difficult, perhaps, to afford. You can make a down payment and make payments over a year. The idea is to help him get through this process with the most benefits possible. He can certainly get this crap out of his body, heal the stomach and kidneys and lungs and brain and whatever else he's damaged as a result of this behavior. I know because I was there myself. I never did tobacco. I smoked tobacco when I had marijuana, right? But I gave it up a long time ago, 35 years ago, and haven't touched anything since then. Anyway, if I can help, let me know. Baimungu is asking me, is chapati unhealthy? Yes, it's cooked. Anything cooked is unhealthy. The healthiest things are going to be the fruit and soft, tender, leafy greens that our bodies are actually intended for. Those Love Songs is here with a $50 contribution. Thank you so much for your ongoing kindness and generosity. I truly appreciate that. All right, and I've got lots more comments. No more super chats. Lots more comments. Let me see what's up here. I've answered that one. And I've got a whole bunch of people here yet I want to wave to on Instagram. Hello, everybody. I'm really glad that you're here. I hope this has been beneficial for you. If this has been beneficial for you, those of you here with me on Instagram, maybe you can like this and feel free to share a link. Let's let other people get this information because this is life-changing information for so many people. Most people do not understand the power of fasting and the benefits that are accrued by fasting long enough and properly. We see incredible things here all the time. It's why people leave here just on fire about this. So if you think this is valuable, maybe you can share this and give it a thumbs up. The same with you folks here with me on YouTube. If you're seeing some benefit from this, if you think this could be helpful to other people, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider sharing the link right as soon as we're done or shortly after we finish here. There will be a link available. I guess you can share it now, actually. And then when the link's available, they'll be able to watch the video. All right, let's see. Let's see where we are. Let me scroll back up here for a moment. And Janine says, creative, have a goal, put away your money as a man, think that you can. Exactly. Yeah, I think I missed an earlier comment, but I'm guessing Melody Ann said, I wish I could afford to come or something like that. We have people that come here every year that really didn't have the means to get here, but they got creative and made it happen. And if coming here really seems out of reach, it's a lot less expensive to work with me remotely. And it's still an amazing process. We've created something that I think is really powerful. Our new remote process means that you get a daily email from me with important tips, information, motivation. There's quotes, inspirational stuff. There's a video, a link in every email. There's a link to the video. Okay. We still have a 1 hour group call. It's a group call, and that's awesome because it means you've got normally 4 or 5 other people on the call who are going through the same process with you, and you create a little community and you support each other. And it's amazing what happens. I mean, people forge friendships this way. They stay in touch with each other, even though they're living apart in different places. It's really powerful working this way. And then once a week, we do a 1 hour Zoom call. That happened yesterday morning at this time. Okay, Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock. There's a Zoom call for people that are fasting with me, or in the 6 weeks, fasting or feeding, or in the 6 weeks afterward. And that's available to those people. There's no cost for this. This is part of our program. Okay, the idea is to make sure that people have all the information they need to support them to getting the best results. And our feedback has been really, really powerful and positive. Yep, there's always those people who complain and often who aren't willing to take responsibility, want to blame somebody else because they're not doing what they need to do, or they started off with an issue. I mean, there are issues that are going to be difficult to resolve, right? There's no guarantee that your body can heal everything. It just depends on what's going on. But we see amazing results when people do what they need to. All right, let's see. I'm going to scroll. We have a super chat here from Rachel Green. Rachel has made a £5 contribution and says, "Hi, Loren. I'm a bit late to the party. I look forward to listening to the replay." Thank you so much, Rachel. It's always nice when people I know and love are willing to just speak up and say, "Hey, how are you?" And I mean, I see them when there's a super chat. I don't see all the comments because there isn't time to look at all the comments. But it's and Rachel is always here, very generous. I appreciate. It's a small contribution, perhaps. But I mean, it may not be so small for her. And you know what? I mean, we're in a very difficult period here, recovering from 6 months with closed borders and no one able to get here, with this huge nature preserve project that we're working on creating. It's really helpful when people contribute this way. I mean, imagine if everyone here, there are currently 64 people with me here on YouTube, and who knows how many here on Instagram. I don't know if it tells me. I don't see that anywhere. But imagine if everyone contributed $5. Okay, that would make a huge difference. We would be able to preserve a lot of land. We'd be able to create amazing things for a lot of people, and that's the goal. And we'd be able to continue offering as much education as possible. That's my goal, is to make it so I can spend most of my time delivering free information, helping as many people as possible. That's what I'm working towards at this point. So thank you so much, Rachel. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate your ongoing generosity. All right, let's see. Plant-based ethos says, "Yet doing a raw foods in cold climates just makes things so much more challenging." Absolutely. Rock Bernardic says, "Living in Europe, which food has less toxins or is more healthy? Fruit from Costa Rica or meat and cooked food from Europe?" Well, Rock, no one should ever eat animal products under any circumstances. Our bodies are simply not like the bodies of animals that eat other animals. So under no circumstances, animal products mean that you age and die faster, that you die from all causes at a much higher rate. No one should be eating animal products. We should all be eating raw food, fruit, and soft, tender leaves. So if you can't get the highest quality, I mean, there are months in Europe where you're not going to get any locally grown food because it's not warm enough to grow food throughout December, January, February through most of Europe. Maybe in southern Greece and Spain and Croatia and Portugal, maybe there's a few places you can still get some high quality food. But for most of Europe, that's not possible. Most of the year, or much of part of the year, it's not possible. So you buy the highest quality food that you can even if it means it's coming from somewhere else. Okay, it's always raw, it's never cooked, it's never animal products under any circumstance. Okay, never at all. We have another €5.49 contribution from Alexis saying, how long should I wait before brushing my teeth after a fruit meal? You should wait at least 3 or 4 hours after eating. And I see now that I just got a notification that my 10 a.m. call started without me, which is great. You know, they can start the call, they can support each other, but I'm going to have to jump off and join them. Yes, we brush our teeth before we eat fruit, never after. You wait at least 3 hours after eating fruit before you brush your teeth, because eating fruit softens your enamel, which is awesome because it takes the plaque off your teeth. It takes the top, microscopically thin layer of enamel off your teeth, removes that, and means that you don't have that plaque on your teeth. So my teeth are perfect, and I brush occasionally, not that often, and don't do anything else, and don't go to a dentist, and have no cavities, and have been eating this way for 30 years nearly. It's not a problem as long as you don't brush after you eat. If you brush after you eat, you're brushing away enamel. Okay, if you graze all day, your teeth are never able to recreate the enamel that they need 3 hours to create. If you are eating things that are overly acidic because they're not fully ripened, you are creating a problem. If you're eating lots of dried fruit, you should eat no dried fruit, really, very, very little, but dried fruit and nuts are creating problems for you. Okay, if you're eating fresh, juicy, high water content fruits and soft, tender leaves, simple green salads, and not brushing your teeth after you eat, you will have no problem whatsoever. Okay, folks, I've got to go. I hope you have a fantastic week. If you speak Spanish, I'm back tomorrow morning at the same time in Spanish. And if not, I'll be back in English at the same time next Friday morning. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Take care, everybody. Again, thumbs up and likes if you thumbs up or like it, please. And please feel free to share. Okay, everybody, I will look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. Bye-bye.